but it just seems like that we could never really sort of build from these 3 or 4 match spells of some pretty good stuff, and then we just regress.
Momentum is not a word you will associate with Spurs season.
No, not with this Spurs team, and that just, I don't know, the MP naysayers, they got some credibility today, because there wasn't a lot of really good things to take away from this game. Like, I went back and I mentioned to you guys, I watched the Leicester game a number of times, and there was actually we played some gorgeous football in parts in that game. Really, we did. But there was really none of that today. None of that at all.
No.
Against a team that there should have been.
And to Burnley's credit, look, they played very compact in their system. They gave us the wings because they know that
you're right,
we are somewhat deplorable at crossing balls in.
It's terrible.
All you have to do is as another team that you have an upcoming fixture is, I'm going to play narrow. And I'm going to force them to try to break me down up the middle because they obviously can't cross the ball in, and get the ball into the mixer. Every time Burnley put the ball into the mixer today, it looked like they were going to score. We were holding our breath, literally, and every time it went in for Tottenham, the ball was immediately cleared. We really are deficient, and that's why I'm just hell-bent on the fact that we need some kind of wing play that allows Kane to do the things that he does well, and allows Eriksen to be creative in that central attacking role.
Well, think about the moment when Kane cut in across the byline, went round the defender. He put it through the box. There was no one there, because arguably that should have been him, and somebody else should have been doing what he was doing. But we were all like, why is there no one at the end of that ball?
Right. Well, the other thing about all this crossing that we try to do, when we only play one up front, it's not the most intelligent of ways to try and approach things. So that's another frustrating, because I sit and think about it, like, wow, because Walker has this habit of, he never seems to first time cross it. Like, he never crosses it when I think he should, and he'll put another touch on the ball, and then he'll whip it in. But then I think, well, he does that because there's only really one guy in the box at the time that he's trying to cross, and maybe he's trying to give himself more time to get more people in there, because we only have one front man. So.
And like Simon said, our race really for top 4 is done. City, I think, is going to find form again, and when that happens, that's your last bastion of hope. Do I think they're going to win the Manchester Derby? Not at all. I think United's form is much better right now. Arsenal and Chelsea are just running away at the top. I don't see City slipping to the point where anybody will surpass them other than Liverpool, possibly. No. So at this point, we are fighting for whatever number ping pong ball we're going to get and what group we're going to be in Europa League. Get used to the fact that that's going to happen, because, folks, I'm telling you, that's going to happen. We're going to be in Europa League again next year. I want to pose a question to you guys. I was just sitting here thinking about it, listening to all of the talk, and this is something that we haven't talked about off the cuff, and it's not on the agenda. But I just want to pose a quick question. I have an answer, and I'm going to go last. But what is the highest, or who is the highest profile player currently on Tottenham's roster that you think will be sold this summer? And by highest profile player, I mean has been playing pretty regularly.
I think it's the same group of players that we've been talking about. We thought they were high profile when we signed them, and we're going to sell them because they're not. But Paulinho will more than likely be sold. Soldado, if you can find takers for him, he will probably be sold. I read something this week that talked about that Levy is willing to concede that he is going to have to essentially subsidize some part of Adebayor's wages to the next team that we sell him to. So I think those 3 for sure. Could Townsend? It begs the question for Lamella. I mean, when Lamella doesn't start against 2 shitty teams, I mean, and I understand parity in the league, and nobody's really that shitty, and no team is going to be easy for us. But if there's ever 2 fixtures in a period, and specifically in that time frame, he should have played. So does that mean that he's surplus to requirements now? I don't know.
Good answers. I mean, that it poses a lot of interesting questions too, because. Oh,
and now Dembele, and I suppose you have to throw Dembele. Like, why has Dembele seen the field in the last 2 or 3? So there's lots of players to sell. I think a lot of that really is. Look, I think the answer to your question also lies in what's really doable in the transfer market, because you're not going to be selling players unless you've got a keen eye on somebody or a pretty good line on somebody, right? So you may have intentions to sell somebody, and I think Friedel really spoke about this. When we were talking about, we were kind of needling him about going to Chelsea. and he made the comment, "Look, I haven't heard anything." And he also he talked about, well, deals are never done until they're done.
Right.
So that does bring a big element. But I think Paulinho, I think we learned today, he is not a Spurs player, not a Premier League player.
Right.
That's probably high on my list.
Well, and that's it brings up a lot of interesting questions, like you said. Soldado's going to be difficult because of the cost, and Lamella's in the same boat. I think that I honestly would not be shocked if Soldado is still a Tottenham Hotspur player next year.
Because nobody wants to buy him, right?
Right. You're not going to be able to get anything for him unless
is
the
he
club
worth
is just
10?
willing. If he's worth 10, I would say that's
take
about
a total bath on him.
Well, but you know what though? I don't think we're going to end up paying $30 million for him. I think it was $16 million and then a whole bunch of performance-based add-ons, which he clearly hasn't reached. So I don't really know. So I don't know. Say if you only spent 16 on him, which I've read that in a couple of spots. I have no idea whether there's any truth to that or not. But then sell him for 10. I mean, look, you're taking losses on these players. I mean, let's face it.
So Sam, if you had to break down your list and say just one, and again I'll pose the question: one player who is plays somewhat of a significant role in the team that you think could possibly be sold this summer. Who's your one?
Lamela.
You really think so?
Yeah.
You know what? I see him going out on loan before you sell him.
That's Ken.
Because he just hates my fucking guts. That's why. God damn
well,
it. Now I'm pissed.
He's marketable. Like Paulinho, I think could be sold because I think he could fit into Italy reasonably well. I mean, if you look at a guy like Boateng, I think he gives guys like Paulinho somewhat hope. Like you look at Gary Medel. I mean, where was he? He was like a Bolton or somewhere. Then all of a sudden he's playing for like Milan. So I think there's places for a guy like Paulinho in Serie A, and we could reclaim some of his fee. But Lamela, from a talent perspective, that's debatable. But he's young, and he's been reasonably successful there, so he could recoup some. He could get some money back. But I'm not sure they're willing to throw the talent on him.
Ken's question is so expansive, unfortunately, because there is probably a half dozen high-profile players that will go in the summer. Paulinho, Soldado, Lamela, Capu, Adebayor's done. Kabul's done.
Kirikesh?
Lennon probably isn't coming back, so there's 7.
Neither is Holtby.
Yeah. The list keeps going on. So,
well, if you could sell them all, that's a lot of money. I mean, if you could, in a perfect world, you could sell them for reasonable fees. There's probably, between all of them, they probably average about $10 million apiece. There's probably $60-70 million in play. Now, granted, I know we spent $100 to get them all, but you know what? You got to move on. It's sunk cost. They're not going to get any better. I mean, of all these players that we've identified, any of them really stand a meaningful chance to get better in the next few years? Maybe Lamela.
Maybe, but is he going to be the answer to your right wing question? And that's where you have to try to answer the question. With 23, he just turned 23 years old, so
he's not a right winger.
And he's more of a 10, if not a false 9. I mean,
I think he is a right winger. That's where he had his success.
No.
That's where he had his success in a much more technical league. In a league that's more like this, I think he would be much better served in the middle. One touch, slip the ball through, and let the strikers do their business.
That's where he's had his success this season.
Yep.
Right, you know what he did today? He took a thunderous tackle today. I mean, he got knocked almost ass over elbows and never complained. Got right back up. Whereas, I mean, this time last year, I mean, he would have been writhing around in the field. I just, as I said, I hate to keep on going back and beleaguering my point, but I just don't think that you've really. He should have been playing. I mean, we'd be able to be much more educated by simply having 2 more games against relatively drab opponents to be able to grade him. And
we've got that. We've got Aston Villa and Hull in the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll see it live on the 16th, and maybe we'll get the start.
Wouldn't that be something if Kenny gets to see?
There'll be no containing Al Kenny.
I'll be a pitch invader.
No, don't do that.
This will be it for me. This is just one of those periods of time where it's just fucking exhausting to be Spurs.
Yeah. All right.
So my pick
Moving
on that.
on, fellas. Come on.
Well, I got to do mine. Okay. So you're doing Lamela. You're doing who, Sam?
And I know you're not Lamela, so
no, Kyle Walker. I think he'll be the most highest profile player that we actually sell.
then you got to have a right back.
Yeah, and I think with that we'll figure out a way to replace him because obviously it was deplorable when he was out and everybody was screaming to get him back. But he has done nothing, even worse nothing than Eriksen's done in the last 12 matches. By the way, he hasn't scored. I think he's got maybe 2 assists in the last 12 matches. And everybody slates Lamella for losing possession.
Are you counting the assist on the Schlappen goal?
Yeah.
That's just evil.
That is evil.
Yeah,
I like it. I wouldn't mind seeing Lamella get a shot at the central attacking mid role. At this point, listen, you're almost to the point where all these players that are out on season-long loans are getting ready to come back. We saw last year at the end of the season, Pritchard sat the bench for 1 or 2 matches. I would love to see Pritchard get a little bit of a shot, get some game time.
Well, maybe even this season.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean,
they're not going to not the position Brentford are in. They're not recalling him.
That's true.
I don't think.
No way. But I think that we've got two young players that excite me. Him and Deli from and like MK Don's manager. This kid's the best kid. Forget about being a kid. Forget about being a midfielder. He's the best player in the championship. I think it's pretty remarkable.
No, he's in League One.
Oh, he's in League One. So, that's right.
But Pritch, arguably, you could say he's one of the most exciting guys in the championship.
Yeah, and I think he's a very similar style to Eriksen.
They battered Fulham on Friday, 4-1.
Yeah,
incredible. How the mighty have fallen in the cottages, eh? I mean, they're still in danger of going down. I don't think it'll happen. I think the teams below Fulham, albeit Blackpool.
I hate to see that.
Wigan, Millwall, and Rotherham are all below Fulham, and I can't see Fulham slipping below.
Just for TJ, I wouldn't want that to happen to TJ, the staggering Irishman.
Yeah. And TJ, he knew Sam through the FC Dallas.
Yeah, in fact he said some really nice things about Sam. I think they put a pint out for him, right?
Yeah. We actually after the service last night went to Staggering Irishman and had a toast to.
Excellent.
Young Sam. So, what's up next on Hotspur America?
Well, I'll just say this. So, we're going to have to record a little bit delayed. I've got a little bit of a humble brag, unless you're going to allow me to do the podcast from Augusta, Georgia, next Sunday night.
You're not going to the Masters.
I am going to cross off my bucket list.
I hate golf.
I am going to the Masters.
There is no golf on my bucket.
So, I'll be back on Monday. But I just pray to God that I can find a telly so I can watch. What time is it? Villa match is Saturday, right?
Saturday at 9.
That's 10 o'clock.
So 10 o'clock there.
I'm screwed. I'm not going to get to watch it.
Golf over your beloved Spurs. Who are you?
Well, let's just pray to God.
I don't even know you anymore, Sam.
I think you need to take it out onto the course with you and play it at full volume. It won't upset the golfers.
He just wants to watch Tiger's balls.
Cursing Sherwood.
Tiger is pony. He is a shadow of his former self.
That's the amen quarter. I just start screaming, "Fucking Tim Sherwood!"
You wanker!
Upcoming oh my God! Yes, we'll record Monday. We'll plan for Monday. You gonna be back Monday?
Yeah, I'll be back Monday.
All right, I'll see what we can do. We have upcoming podcasts. Samantha Ram from EastEnders. She's going to be coming on with us at some point. I'm trying to work out a date with her. The guy who produces.
Hang on, Ken.
Yo.
It says working a date out with her. Really? What kind of date are you talking about?
Moving.
Never kiss and tell.
Sorry. Yeah.
Maybe she'll be my date as we go to Rob White's barbecue.
There you go.
There we go.
I need to get Charlie Parrish on here. We gotta get that. We gotta find a way to get him on.
This is going to be the party of all parties in Crouch End, right?
I think I'm gonna get Rob really mad at me because
you are. Yeah, Rob, if you're listening, it's all Sam's fault. We are.
It is
I've
all
invited
Sam's fault.
Stefan
I'll
Freund.
get that spreadsheet to you this week with names, and hopefully we can.
Stefan Freund said he'll come.
Yeah.
Add him to the list.
I
I love Stefan Freund and he loves me.
Okay, can we end this discombobulated?
Jesus H.
We've
on Easter, you got me using
right?
his name.
I don't have Riverside County for me and the lovely beer. Other than that, I got nothing.
All right, so we got Samantha coming up. Dan from Yidvids too. Listen, we have people all the time that tell us, listen, I just listened to the intro like 6 times to make myself feel better. I would not be shocked if that happened again today. he produces that for me.
I love that intro.
And so I want to get him on the show.
To Berkey. I love listening to Berkey.
Oh, I love that line.
Being the manager of 3 cup-winning teams. I can't believe it.
I'm so lucky it's untrue.